IDX to issue policies on broker code closing. Good afternoon, viewers. Market Alliance is ready to provide you a number of informations from the business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Wicky Adrian. This is Market Headlines. Minister of Trade Muhammad Lutfi assessed that Indonesia's trade has begun to show improvement based on its performance in early 2021. It is reflected in the rate of exports that grow year on year.
Minister of Trade Muhammad Lutfi assessed that Indonesia's trade has begun to show improvement. Based on its performance in early 2021, it is reflected in the rate of exports that grow year on year. In January 2021, the trade balance recorded a surplus of $1.96 billion, of which the value of export was $15.3 billion and imports of $13.3 billion. Lutfi explained that on a monthly basis, Indonesia's trade performance declined both in exports and imports. The export rate fell 7.48% and imports decreased 7.59%. However, according to him, this happened because it was a seasonal pattern caused by the long holiday period at the end and beginning of the year. Before the holiday period, business actors had already filled in stock.
Melihat daripada tren yang sudah terjadi pada bulan Januari ini, kita melihat bahwa ada beberapa angka yang menunjukkan perbaikan. Kita kalau melihat, kita mendapatkan surplus balance tahun 2021 ini yaitu sebesar 1,96 miliar dolar, meskipun terjadi pertumbuhan defisit daripada migasnya, tetapi non migasnya tumbuh 0,2,63% secara sehat.
Meantime, from the import side, the minister stated that on an annual basis, it had decreased by 6.49%. However, the decline was contributed more by imports of oil and gas imports, which fell by 21.9%, while non-oil and gas imports only edged down 4%. From Jakarta, IDX Channel's coverage team reported.
The establishment of the Indonesia Investment Authority is claimed to be able to grow investment and become a driving force for the Indonesian economy. Member of the Supervisory Board of the Indonesia Investment Authority, Darwin Cyril Nurhadi, even said that 36,000 workers could potentially be absorbed by the presence of the authority.
The establishment of the Indonesia Investment Authority, or INA, is claimed can absorb a large number of workers in the country. The Indonesia Investment Authority Supervisory Board member Darwin Cyril Nurhadi said that the country needed investment to drive economic growth. With an economy that continues to grow, more jobs will be created. Darwin added that based on INA data, Indonesia needs at least an investment of $2 billion, or equivalent to 28.18 trillion rupiah. The funds are needed to carry out several national strategic projects. With this project, it will absorb a lot of labor.
Bila investasi dilakukan ini secara teoritis dengan asas yang ada, itu akan menggerakkan pertumbuhan ekonomi sebesar katakanlah 0. Bila 1% investasi dinaik. Nah, dampak dari kenaikan pertumbuhan ekonomi tersebut memberikan juga dampak peningkatan lapangan atau menyerap lapangan kerja sebesar 33.000. Mekanisme ini semua tentu dengan asumsi bila dilakukan pada kuartal kedua dengan kurs tertentu dan juga nilai dana tertentu.
Darwin said that funds from INA are expected to be used to build various infrastructures in the country. From Jakarta, IDX Channel's coverage team reported.
Jakarta provincial government is now digitizing parking system. The digital parking concept will make parking highly convenient, also add more regional income.
To make it easier for parking lot managers in Jakarta, Jakarta provincial government innovates parking digitization program in the capital city. Deputy Governor of Jakarta, Ahmad Riza Patria, explained Jakarta provincial government has made an application so-called as Jak Parkir as a form of digitizing parking management. Whereas the Provincial Department of Transportation is currently monitoring and testing it on several roads in Jakarta. The Deputy Governor hopes that the Jak Parkir application is not only useful for the parking managers but also for users, as it helps people find parking easily and quickly. Ahmad Riza said that the digitization managers can ensure that the reports received are in accordance with the number of vehicles using the parking lot. And on the transparency side, it will be better because every transaction report is recorded in real time.
Digitalisasi lahan parkir akan sangat bermanfaat karena penggunanya bisa memastikan laporan yang diterima sesuai dengan jumlah kendaraan yang menggunakan lahan parkir. Transparansi ini juga lebih baik karena setiap laporan transaksi secara real time langsung tercatat dan bisa dipantau langsung.
Based on regional budget in 2019, revenue from the parking tax side is very large. It reached 532 billion rupiah or exceeds the set target of 525 billion rupiah. However, during the pandemic, parking tax revenue 2020 fell to 352 billion rupiah. Jakarta, Rahajo Pakmo, IDX Channel.
Port State Enterprise Pelindo 1 is about to increase its marine logistics service through sea toll. This aims to attract people, send stuffs through sea toll, and boost delivery requests. Sea toll is a part of marine logistics system that aims to connect one large port to other major ports in Indonesia. Giving contribution, Port State Enterprise Pelindo 1 has committed to develop services in a number of ports managed by the company. The President Director Dani Rusli Utama said that the potential for demand for logistic shipments via sea tolls from ports in western Indonesia managed by Pelindo 1 is very high. The increasing volume makes Pelindo keep trying to ensure smooth sea highway traffic so that sea toll users will increase.
Sebetulnya kita ada beberapa terminal juga yang melayani selama ini tol laut ya, yang jalurnya dari mulai Jakarta masuk ke Belawan, masuk ke Malahayati, terus kemudian Sibolga. Jadi terlihat bahwa tol laut sendiri sudah memberikan hasil dengan volume yang dari waktu ke waktu yang ditangani tambah besar dan ada kepastian bagi user di belakang pelabuhan ini mengenai kepastian datangnya kapal-kapal itu, dan tugas PR-nya Pelindo 1 adalah memberikan layanan dan produktivitas yang bagus memenuhi standar sehingga operasionalnya menjadi
Market Headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut. Seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, dan pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira brand hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri yang itu kira.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm Associate Producer and News Presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion.
Welcome back. Given bad financial performance, Adidas has confirmed plans to sell its Reebok brand after 15 years of ownership. Adidas CEO has come to the conclusion that Reebok and Adidas will be able to significantly better realize their growth potential independently.
German sportwear maker Adidas plans to sell or spin off its underperforming Reebok brand. Adidas bought Reebok for $3.8 billion in 2006. However, the selling price now looks to be between 1.2 up to $1.8 billion only. In November, Adidas said Reebok sales fell by 20% in the 9 months to 30 September, a slightly faster pace than the group's core brand as the company was forced to close stores during lockdown. A report from Reuters notes Reebok sales fell by 7% in the third quarter of 2020, as much as 44% in the prior quarter. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Ever wonder why Adidas and Reebok store has always been side to side? Those two companies did merger in 2005 up until now. However, there is a statement from CEO of Adidas that said Reebok and Adidas will be able to significantly better realize their growth potential independently of each other. In other words, Adidas has announced plans to put its Reebok brand up for sale. Reebok is no longer profitable to Adidas and it lead to burden Adidas. Therefore, in the next graphic, let's see how is Adidas's financial performance so far. As you can see, in 2019, Adidas's revenue in the second quarter in 2019 in the level of $6.2 billion, but the number decreased quite significant, as much as 35%. In 2020, $4.2 billion. This one is taken from Reebok's financial statement. And the sharp decline was sponsored by declining Reebok's revenue. Reebok's revenue dropped by 42% to just $270 million. Because Reebok and Adidas is the same entity. Therefore, it dragged Adidas' financial performance as well. Actually, Adidas is already aware that Reebok has underperformed in recent years and lost market share. The proportion of Adidas's income that comes from Reebok has fallen since a couple years ago. In 2007, for example, a quarter of Adidas's total retail sales, which was more than $2 billion came from Reebok. But then this has steadily declined over the past decade. And in the quarter to June 2020, Reebok made up just 6.4% of Adidas's total sales. Sometimes it's best to just admit that you cannot make something work, right? At the first place, Adidas bought Reebok, hoping it would help the company take on Nike more effectively in the US market. And thanks to Reebok's long-standing credibility with basketball players and its then licensing deal with the National Basketball Association. And let's see how much it costs for Adidas to acquire Reebok in the next graphic. In 2016, Adidas acquired Reebok as much as $3.8 billion, but the selling price is approximately 1.2 to 1.8 billion US dollar. And it is definitely that Adidas suffering from loss from the data, as you can see on the screen. And goodbye to $3.8 billion Adidas CEO Kasper Rorsted hopes to make at least $2.4 billion from selling the Reebok. But he is now open to accepting less. By previous scenario, Adidas could potentially end up receiving around only half of what it paid for Reebok 15 years ago. Adidas acquired Reebok 15 years ago in an attempt to expand its presence in the US market and to beat its rival, Nike. Nike is also the market leader for sportwear. Let's see how Nike maintains the market leader through its jumbo revenue in the athletic apparel industry. As you can see, this is Nike's revenue worldwide from 2016 to 2020. Nike recorded the highest revenue in 2019. It was on the level of $39.1 billion. But in the pandemic time, or 2020, Nike's revenue worldwide reached $37.4 billion. We compiled the data from Bloomberg. And Adidas has not yet disclosed its 2020 financial report yet. Probably it will come by March. However, we can assess it from revenue for the quarter ending September 2020 was $6 billion. And when Nike posted $39.1 billion revenue in 2019, Adidas was only able to post $26 billion. Quite far, right? These figures include not only Nike and Adidas branded footwear, but also Converse, which is owned by Nike, and Reebok owned by Adidas. Plus point, Converse contributes fair high revenue to Adidas, but Reebok doesn't give much to Adidas. Things get worse when pandemic hit the world. Reebok has become a drain to Adidas's resources, and it is time to let go. There are several options for Reebok after Adidas. What are those? Let's see it through the next graphic. This is what to look for Reebok. The first one is spun out into an independent company, sold to another retailer, and sold to private equity. We compiled the data from Forbes. And sold to another retailer may be the best option. VF Corp, which owns outdoor apparel brands, including Timberland, Vans, and North Face, as well as Fila, is one of Reebok potential buyers so far. Despite bad financial performance, Reebok in recent years had tried to position itself as go-to for highly athletic individuals with high-profile partnership in UFC and CrossFit. In other words, strategic position of the brand is good, so it will attract buyer. And even though in the end of Adidas has took out Reebok for a greater good, there's still considerable brand equity for Reebok, and yes, there's an opportunity for Reebok to be successful without Adidas. Don't go anywhere. Market Headlines, because Market Headlines, we will be back after the break.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Conversation Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
our last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today. JCI was open at the level of 6,246.32, and then approaching the closing time on the session, the index was on the level of 6,206. Then index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,241.79. In short, JCI went down 0.76%. And next, we are going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got consumer goods as the lead of the strengthening trend that went up 0.12%. Meanwhile, Miss Industry went down 2.46%. Construction went down 1.38%, and infrastructure went down 3.03%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers. Here are the key highlights from today's trading session. BBCA went up 0.07% to the level of 33,550 rupiah per share. BACA went up 3.27% to the level of 790 rupiah per share. MDKA went up 3.66% to the level of 2,830 rupiah per share. BNBA went up 24.82% to the level of 710 rupiah per share. And this is the top losers for today's trading. We got ANTM went down 4.05% to the level of 2,840 rupiah per share. Asa International went down 3.14% to the level of 5,400 rupiah per share. Bank Mandiri went down 1.99% to the level of 6,150 rupiah per share. BBRI went down 0.68% to the level of 2,940 rupiah per share. And this is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,229. Rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,111. In rupiah, or in summary, rupiah went down 0.66%. The Indonesia Stock Exchange will issue policies related to closing broker codes and types of investors. The IDX confirmed that the policy will take effect from July 26, 2021.
The Indonesia Stock Exchange will issue policies related to closing broker codes and types of investors. The IDX confirmed that the policy will take effect from July 26, 2021. Director of Trade and member of the IDX, Prasetyo Wibowo, said that the closure of broker codes and investor types is intended to improve market governance by reducing herding behavior. In addition, he continued that the policy is also to reduce the need for data bandwidth, which causes latency or delays in trading activities due to increasing frequency of transactions recently. Even so, there have been many rejections on the policies because the policies are considered impartial and are very detrimental to investors and retail traders. The rejection was carried out through the signing of a petition on the online platform change.org, which was initiated by a user named Bunga Trader with the title Reject IDX Policy regarding broker code and investor type closure. Responding to the pros and cons, Laksono claimed that the majority welcomed the policy because it could further improve market conduct. Moreover, he continued that exchange in various countries did not include broker and domicile codes. From Jakarta, Gilang Praditya, Fajar Wayong, IDX Channel.
The Indonesian Securities Companies Association encourages more detailed socialization regarding the new Indonesia Stock Exchange policy on closing brokerage codes and types of investors.
The Indonesian Securities Companies Association encouraged more detailed socialization regarding the new Indonesia Stock Exchange policy on closing brokerage codes and types of investors. The director of Indonesian Securities Companies Association, Rudi Utomo, said that the new policies often create pros and cons for several groups. He added that if we look at the stock exchange rules in force in several other countries, the rules for closing brokerage codes are common. This is because almost all established stock exchanges no longer provide trading with broker codes. Rudy hopes that the implementation of the new policy can create a better market. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, retail investors in the stock market have increased fantastically until December 2020, reaching 1.39 million investors. Meanwhile, in terms of securities company, according to him, securities companies are very dynamic. If the rule applies, the adjustment will not take long. Rui also brushed off the removal of broker code during the session, reducing transparency of securities trading. IDX Channel's coverage team reported.
And step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes big role in current economic situation. And here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Menjalani kehidupan yang mapan dan masa depan yang sejahtera. Sikapi uang dengan bijak. Mulailah berinvestasi di pasar modal dengan membeli saham melalui Bursa Efek maupun perusahaan sekuritas.